Hello students and welcome to class. Today we're going to take on Come As You Are by Nirvana. That's in the textbook. It's on page 13. So I've got it open. I'm talking about how to learn guitar tab method. Page 13 here. Come As You Are. The first thing to do is to figure out which finger goes where and how many fingers are you going to need. So if you take a look at the tab, you'll see everything's a 0 or a 1 or a 2 fret-wise. So we should only need finger 1 and finger 2. We won't need these guys. And there's a little bit of string 6 and a little bit of string 5. Occasionally, finger 2 is going to be down here on string 5. But finger 2 is only either going to play this note or this note. Finger 1 is only ever going to play that note, F. Okay, let's start out with a playthrough from me. I'll get a metronome started and I'll play it. That's the deal. Okay, why don't we do one more playthrough with me counting, so you have that for reference. That would be like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. That's a good place to end it. So you see the repeat signs around the 2 complete measures, not counting those first 3 notes, give you a loop here that can be played indefinitely. In the song, it goes through that probably 16 times before it goes to another part of the song. So it definitely can go on more than 2 times. What I did the last time there, and I think that this should be our game plan, play the opening 3 notes, of course, and then play the loop all the way through twice, and then come back and end on beat 1 of the first complete measure. So do 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 do, ending there, beat 1 on that measure. All right. So, okay, at this point in the video, you should just pause the video and try to play through the song. Make sure you're using the fingering that I talked about with my left hand, and make sure you just limit yourself to downstrokes. I played it with ups and downs, but at this point, just do downstrokes for everything, because I don't want you to be thinking about it. Should this be an upstroke or be a downstroke, and trip up on that. Okay, play through it. Try to start getting it into your head. Just getting familiar with it. Hopefully that starts settling in and kind of memorizing some of that. Okay, then where to from there? After that point, what you should do is write the count, like we always do, below the staff. And look at this, the book starts you off and 4 and 1. So they explain how the partial measure at the beginning begins on the and before beat 4, aka the and of 3. Continue that out and line up your 1. I think it's crazy that they write it in words, write out the words in letters instead of just writing numbers. Yeah, I would write numbers and symbols, because how are you going to fit the words for, F-O-U-R, and then the word and all in that tiny space? So that's not a good idea. Write the count next, and then write the letter names above. We always want to do that. You can just watch me when I counted and played it to make sure you're getting the count correct, but I think it'd be best of all if you try to do it without my help, and then just went back in the video to me counting to check your answers and make sure you got it right. Okay, once you got that in place, let's see now. I always think that you should play the original artist, the recording of the song, to get familiar with the song. Maybe you're already familiar with the song, but if you're not, and even if you are, you should spend some time just listening to the original thing. Now, I will explain about this Nirvana original version, though. Their guitars are tuned differently. They tune lower, so we can't play along with the Nirvana record. unfortunately. When we play string 6 fret 0, we have an E, of course. They're tuned down 2 frets worth of pitch, so they actually have a a D, a low D here. And when they get boom, 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 they're playing fret 2, but it sounds as boom, sounds as an E. So we can't play along with them, but what we can do is just play it. I have it pulled up on YouTube here, and I've slowed it down to 75% playback speed in my settings. Let's have a nice slow version. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and... What I want to do is practice counting along with the record. Oh, by the way, if you don't know how to slow something down on YouTube, this is something every musician should know how to do. Go to the settings here. Is this filming? Is this visible? I sure hope so. Go to settings, and there you have playback speed right there. See, so I'm only 75% up to speed. Okay, we're gonna play it, and we're gonna try to point to the right note in the book while we're hearing it happen. Let's do this. Let's do this in real time. Here it comes. About to hit play on the video. Oh, come on. Oh, little. Why is that? As soon as I try to point to the... I can't point to that red button without it disappearing. Boom, 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 boom. Ba, boom, ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, boom. Ba, boom, boom, boom. Ba, boom, ba. All right, see how, so I just did that over and over again until I was able to do it. I want you to do the exact same thing. I meant to hide the lead inside my mechanical pencil so I wouldn't mark up the book. Listen to it and watch the score intently and make sure you're able to point to the right note at the right time. Do 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 do. Remember, with the tied note right there, do 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 do. The next note is that one, not that little thingy. Okay, so that's the next step in your practice. Now, next I want you to do that same thing again, but when you wrote all the notes above the score, you should have written an F sharp right there. If you didn't, then you did something wrong. That note is an F sharp. And you should have written an E right there above that one, along with all the other note names. But I want to point to the right note as I listen to Nirvana at 75% speed, and I want to say F sharp when I point at that note, and I want to say E when I point at that one. Beat 1 of each of those measures. That beat 1, that's an important note. So I'm going to do that. Here we go. F sharp. E. F sharp. E. F sharp. Etc. Do that like about 1,000,000 times. Okay. Get good at it. Practice makes perfect. And then we'll move on to the next thing to do, which is now to memorize, start memorizing little chunks of the song, starting with when you said F sharp. F sharp. I want to memorize that much, no more. F sharp. So that was 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Is that right? Yes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So in the first complete measure, from beat 1 to beat 4, I want you to practice playing that until you don't need the book to do that much. Don't, 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 all with downstrokes. You should be able to do that from memory. Okay, when you've got that, great. Next task. Go to where we said E, beat 1 in the second measure, and get as far as 1 and 2 that one will not take as much. 1 and 2 and, yeah. 1 and 2 and, make sure the rhythm feels right. 1 and 2 and. Okay, that much, memorize it and say E, like you were doing, E. Consider that whole part, you're the E chord of the song. Consider the whole other part, F sharp, as the F sharp chord of the song. So that when we meet next week, I can say, play me the F sharp chord part of the song, and you'll play this, F sharp. And then also play me the E chord part of the song, and you'll play this, E. All right, and those should be memorized. Again, you don't have to look at the book to do that. We need it memorized. Okay, when you're done with all that, now go back to the book, and now really try to play it and get it right. And when you get to the F sharp part, you're looking at the book, but you're mostly cruising along from memory at that point, which will make it so much easier. F sharp part. And there's one little note there before my E part. Sure. Okay, so now I'm finding that a lot easier to do. And I want to point this out. I want to point out something to you now. The last 3 notes in the song before the repeat sign, B, boom, boom, B, E, F. That's almost exactly the same as the beginning 3 notes, except instead of an E like here, it's a B for this. But and 4 and 1 and 4 and 1 becomes and 4 and 1. So really, when you get done with that memorized E part here, it's really like you started all over from the true beginning way back here. That's what it sounds like. I hope that made sense, what I just said. If it didn't, once you know how to play the song, that will make sense, what I just said, and it'll click. Okay, finally. Okay. Once you're getting good at just playing it with the downstrokes, having gone through all those practice procedures that I listed out, now finally you can look at the book and all those little ands you wrote in, you can write in your up arrows for ands, and we can try to play it with downstrokes on the beat and upstrokes on the ands. And maybe all that can be done in a single week, depending on your skill level, or maybe that comes on a later week, but that would look like this. I guess I'll do one demo and we'll call it a video. And 4 and, oh, sorry, bad start. And 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and... Okay, there it is with my up and down strokes, but it's also fine to play it with all downs, and that's how we'll do it at first. There it is with all downs. Okay, this video has gone on pretty long at this point. We'll call that a lesson, and we'll see you in lessons, and we'll play it. Have a good week.